Hello Internet, I'm Jackie Fox, and today we're going to be talking about Trustrunes some more. Now, in my previous video explaining how the Trustrune system has been improved, I mainly focused on the fact that now it only takes 10 purples and 1 green to max any passive, which is huge, because easily the hardest part of the system wasn't necessarily building pinks. There were a lot of ways to do that. There are a lot of ways remaining to do that. You'll see a lot of ways to do that in this video. But one of the things that I didn't mention is just how good the drop rates are. So your chances in my limited 2 days of testing on 5 accounts, running through maybe 120, 130 rerolls, 2/3 of those have been maxed passive. So even if you're out of dismantles and you still can roll something, it might be worth rolling it just because you might get that chance. I'm not saying it's going to happen, especially if you're waiting for, as one commenter was, that last 12th passive that is one particular thing that you need. If you're waiting on that, your luck still might be kind of terrible. But it is considerably better than it used to be. So this video is going to be a bit of a longer stream, but here up at the front, I want to explain and I want to show you some advanced Truststone stuff. Like passives, how to move them around, you know, kind of how I UI this, how I know what I need to work on, all of that kind of stuff. So first here, I'm just going through yesterday's Trustrunes and seeing what I can get rid of. If you'll notice, I have starred Trustrunes, and all of my starred Trustrunes have one of three things in common. I'm going to use them. They have at least one passive, maybe only one passive. That passive may be maxed. So they may be waiting on a second passive, or they may be waiting on their passives to be maxed. That used to be more of a problem. That's not a problem anymore. So now, if I have something that is waiting in that starred area, which I highly recommend doing this just to make the Trustrune system so much easier, because it's so hard to sort through these things otherwise. Just to know what you have to work on. This is such a big life hack and tip. So anything that I have starred throughout this video on any account is basically something that I need another Trustrune for. Now, I'm realizing that I'm a little out of the particular rune that I need. I'm going for eye in this case. So I've done a couple things to get myself some more eye shards. And now we're going to go into the system. Take a look at... Oh, that was L. Take a look at the eyes that I need. It looks like I need a spirit and a defense. I'm building Eunice Clothes, and I'm building Auspicious Cheongsam in eye. So, I should be about to roll an eye in something that is neither spirit nor defense, but no, I am going for L. Okay, we'll do L. I have an L that needs something. Let's see if I can get something cool. Strike attack resistance. That is Mimi. That could be relevant, but I'm just not going to roll it. There aren't enough ways to build it, really, so whatever. And I may actually speed through these rolling sections because, I mean, it's a lot better than it used to be, and you can see I'm getting a lot of maxed passives like Confusion 8, Immobilize 8. Let's see what's next. Poison Resistance 5, so again, 2 out of 3. That was the third. Maxed. And, you know, magic attack buff resistance might be it. Let's kind of look at what I'm doing on the Auspicious Cheongsam. I also have this L that's sitting on my Sword of Awaz, although it shouldn't be. And I've decided that, you know, magic attack up wasn't the way to go, so we're going to roll some more. I already have charm resistance. I don't think I know that in this video, so I'm going to check. So what I'm actually going to do, since charm resistance is relevant though, I'm going to put it on this extra Trustrune that I have, just to kind of hold it for a later day. Again, This Trust Rune is kind of on a weird TMR anyways. I think I auto set it or something, but let's just go ahead and max it out. And I'll use this for if I ever want evasion or if I ever want charm resistance for an L in the future that's not luck, I can get it from this Truststone. So let's just go ahead and max that out. And this is a way to kind of save passives for later. So now I've got my passive off my L, let's re-roll it. And keep trying to get something that'll be good for the Auspicious Cheongsam. But it probably bears looking at the Cheongsam itself, see what I can do. And looking at it, I realize I need to roll a P for it, actually. So let's roll a P Spirit, I guess is where I'm going now. Maybe not. Oh, I'm also kind of seeing... This is the other thing. So I get stun resistance and I've got charm resistance, so I don't want those on my P. Anything else is really good. This might be more for mages. I already have some resistances. Maybe I'll be happy with the resistance. But I'm probably looking for something else because this is a little bit more general of a has high spirit, has shell. This is going to make somebody really tanky against magic. So maybe I want magic attack resistance or something. But let's just see what I roll for. Wind is actually a pretty meta-relevant unit type. It has been for a while, so why not? Let's go with wind resistance. Something I didn't show you in the previous video that I'm going to show you now is how to max out your runes. This is pretty simple. It's a 3 or 4 step process. So first you do that. You should have all the resources to do that. Usually the way that I short circuit the tempering process, if it has HP, I'm going for 160 HP or very close to it with other good stats. If it's an offensive rune, it's going to have attack or magic, I'm going for 35. Just remember to enhance your Trust Rune to level 20 or you won't be able to get those max, and you're going to be tempering for a very long time before you realize that it is literally impossible for you to get max stats in the way that you've gone about it. After I've done that, since it doesn't have a second passive, I'm going to star it, so now it's on my list of things to work with. Now I have 2 Ps to work with too. So let's look at this other one, Ice Attack Resistance. This is going to be for my ranged units, I think, because it's that missile attack up and a barrier on the buff. So now we're going to roll for I. I forget what I'm looking for I, but let's just see what happens. Ice Attack, no thank you. Really looking for earth, lightning, or light on this account. Okay, well, I seem to be out of dismantles, but because of how effective this system is at giving me basically what I want, there's still the possibility that this first roll will be something good. It wasn't, but it was possible. Let's see what else I can roll though. Okay, agility to buff resistance 17. That's a max passive, and looking at the Auspicious Cheongsam, especially since I have the agility up on it, especially since it's not like the fastest TMR, but it has agility up, so we might as well protect that investment with agility to buff resistance. So now let's level that passive. And again, I didn't even need dismantles to do this. I just kind of lucked out on a first roll and got a good passive. And now I have a finished Trust Rune that was unfinished before. One less thing to work on in the future. A bit later in the video, I'm going to do an account review, but for right now, let's continue to roll on another account and see what's going on. So as you can see, I have a yellow trust rune, which are actually really useful for holding on to other passives. If you don't want to build a pink, you can trade pink passives to yellow trust runes. Very helpful for storing them if you don't want to store them on a pink like I did in my previous thing. I highly recommend. This is really like the use case for yellows, honestly. So, important piece of advice there, I guess. But it looks like I am a little bit short on resources, so let's get me some resources. I had previously a bunch of resources stocked for this system, but that was only really because I was barely using it. Now that I've actually started using it and actually started looking at new TMRs that are great, new buffs, I've started, another thing that I will say is cool with this new system is if you look at your old TMRs and you're like, hey, that's not really good anymore. Like Locke's Bandana, for example. It gives AoE, agility, and luck. It was really great in the evasion meta. It's still great for giving AoE agility, but that's becoming more common and there's bigger things that do it. It is a piece of clothing. I have Dagger Dancer Little Leela now. She has a bigger AoE buff that doesn't have the luck. I think I'd rather have that as a piece of clothing. So what you can do now is just remove all the TMR runes from that piece of equipment and then use the auto system to put TMR runes on what you want to equip later. Because, and let me explain the auto equip system for one. It's not the best, it's not like brilliant AI, but the one thing that it does incredibly well is it will make sure that there are no overlaps. So if you notice that it gives you most of a set except for one, and you know you have another thing of that set, the reason it didn't give you that is one of the passives overlaps. And especially now with the way that this system works currently, it's really easy to take that off, make yourself a yellow, take that passive, put it on something else, roll another pink of that color until you get a good passive for it, put that passive on it, level it up, put it back on, boom, you're done. And the auto system has actually helped you out just a bit. So on this account, as you can see, I recently decided, I don't know why I didn't do this earlier, to build the engagement necklace for my ice account, which gives very large AoE, I think. It's either that or an aimable cross AoE. I might be getting it confused with Lightning Scarter Bag. They're both very similar. But it's accuracy and ice attack up, which is a little bit redundant since Alaya has an ice attack up buff that she really wants to use for her kit. But this could be a really good item for Snow in the future, especially on a build that's not using Alaya and isn't taking advantage of that buff. And it could be good for accuracy in general, even without that, just kind of taking for granted that those things are not going to stack with each other. So it's one that I'm recently started building, and basically all of the runes on it are stuff I rolled yesterday. I had that much luck to roll basically a full set of runes for it yesterday, but I didn't have enough luck to get all of the passives I wanted. So that's really what I'm going to be working on right now. And as you can see, I am using one of those passives from my yellow rune that I mentioned earlier, and it's going to need just a little bit more HP. I don't have to be this anal retentive about it, but it only needs about 550, so I'm gonna make some greens. And, you know, some other stuff while I'm at it, so I don't have to come back to this screen again. Let's get some purples, though, since those are so much better. I know I have a lot of blues stocked up for the old blue meta, but let's get some purples just to speed things up, and let's make a bunch of blues. Okay. We can now build up anything we want. So let's build up this Truststone that I just made. And we just need one green at this point. Boom, and Trustrune done. I'm never going to get sick of saying Trustrune done during this video. It's so satisfying. So as you can see, I have 3 more Trustrunes that need to be completed. They're all based on that same TMR. So I've already completed all of my other TMRs. At this point, I'm just going towards, I'm going to build a completely new TMR at this point. And I wish I had realized, even though that is equipped, that it was a mistake. You're gonna see me go back and realize that's a mistake and lose a little bit of resources. And earlier on in the Trustrunes system, that would have been massive. The hammers to switch things around, the amount of, re-smithing gear that you would need. They've been handing that out a lot recently. I really wish I had dismantled that right there, because it's gonna cause me problems that you're gonna see in just a few minutes. But again, it used to be, and like even the adamantite used to be really scarce. But as you can see now, I have more adamantite than I could ever possibly use, thanks to the way that, you know, the economics I was talking about in Gumi Economics 103 have changed just the rarity of adamantite. And for the intents and purposes of leveling up either items or Trustrunes, you have basically infinite now, which is a huge change. So from here, I'm gonna skip through some more of this. Like, you've got the idea on how to build a Trustrune at this point, so let's just fast forward a bit. We've gotten through some of the interesting stuff. Let me see if I get to the point where I realize that this Trustrune is stupid. I think it's somewhere in here. Nope, that's me giving it accuracy because I haven't realized it's stupid yet. But I think at this point I'm gonna exit and... oh no, wait. Okay. I have realized it's stupid at this point. I have made a completely new Trustrune to put AP on, or to put the bad passive on, because what's Snow gonna do with slash resistance penetration? And now I can recraft, I can reforge that Trustrune that I told you I should have reforged to begin with, and re-roll it until it gets a good passive. And for Snow, attack up 7 looks like the way to go. So now we have a final Trustrune for this piece of equipment that actually makes sense. So let's go ahead and get that equipped. And I guess next we have to go and level that up. And also now we can pick up that accuracy, because that is still helpful. It does stack with the accuracy buff on the TMR. So that is a great passive for this TMR. And now we have this, which I guess I'll save for a later day just in case somebody else wants the slash penetration. And now we can level up this passive. And I think that's pretty much going to be everything that I have to do for this account. There's going to be some luck rolls and some more stuff here towards the end. At this point in the video, after me showing you leveling stuff up, let's talk a bit about what I've made and maybe what you might make for yourself. So let's start with the account that I started on. This is my main. This is where I have probably the best variety of stuff to play with. So let's get started with the Black Rose headdress. This comes from Black Rose Helena. I have it built for a tremendous amount of magic, even more than some magic stuff. Also passive magic buff, passive spirit piercing, also a bit built in for accuracy. I'm not really going to read out the passives for you, but I put a pretty good bit of thought into them for what I want on, specifically Elena usually is the one that uses that in my experience. This is one build of King Lion's Cloak, 23 defense on it, 3 defense that stacks on everything. In addition, We have also good attack type resistances for physical attacks. Missed out on strike because it's strike. Healing power up could also become relevant for a lot of units that might like this into the future, especially if they're being played with a healer. Eunice clothing is another one that I just built for recently. I want to do a full defensive set on this since it does have a good base defense on it. And basically, what I want to say is that Mashari's TMR is better than this in pretty much every way because it's an accessory, but that is kind of the only difference. If there is a scenario where I want two mages to have a self-centered AoE buff that also gives some sort of kind of barrier and heal, then this is still kind of one of my only other options. So fuck it. It's the golden age of TMRs. Why not build it? As you can see, I'm a little bit in process with that, subbing in HP runes, but that is what it is. This is a TMR I'm building even without using its buff for so many more units. 10 AGI on the TMR and an additional 3 with some evasion and with some elemental resistance and with some HP. This is what I'm using on a unit that I want to be fast, if they want the buff or not. Really great for Perrine in that respect. This I'm building for agility and defense. I don't have the full defense set, so let's fix that. I have a defense rune on my Sword of Awaz, which I might show you later. Anyways, I think I'm going to fix this. Let's do it. Give it the one from Sword of Awaz. Just do it. Immobilized resistance is fine. We'll be fine. I mean, I'm trading a lot of things that I would actually like on this armor, but it doesn't have immobilized resistance, so that is, it's gonna stack. It'll be fine. Let's do it. There we go. Okay. So as you can see, defense and agility and a bit of power, a bit of healing power. So this one's going to be all defense, 21 on the main, 3 more healing power up because of the set passives. Also, we're going to be getting attack up 10 and defense penetration 10. A lot of attack on this TMR and a lot of defense. So if you have an attacker that needs defense, maybe they're wearing something for spirit on their main armor, then this is a great one. It also has an AoE attack buff that can also help Edward and Tifa in the future. Also kind of 2B. This TMR I've already kind of talked about. It's pretty self-explanatory. High magic, high spirit, magic attack, piercing rate, and also healing power up. All great. This TMR, I question if I want to build, maybe in a future meta. It is special because with an HP set, it can get up to 20 light resist. It is important to note that a light resist passive does nothing on this TMR. It already has 15. This is really good for units that want to be kind of fast, need spirit in addition to their armor, and need some AP, because not only can this give you shell and the AP, also healing power up to a bit. I've talked about this one. I want you to be fast, and I want you to be able to deal with magic. That is the idea here. So we have 3 agility from our Trustrunes, and additional 3 from the set bonus, so 6 agility. Not the fastest TMR, but this is mainly built for more of a general, if you need spirit, but you can wear clothing and you want, I guess, a buff. Again, I don't like clothing a lot, so maybe I won't use that, but it's there if I want it, and I have enough Trustrune stuff to finally build one. This is great for ranged units. I'm putting a bit of attack, accuracy, dex. It's really going to help people hit. Also, the TP stuff in there is for acquired AP. Gunners can have issues with that, so acquired AP is great. Also, some resistances versus relevant matchups and kind of range stuff. I don't really want to explain illusory bells. Honestly, for a while, I wasn't even running stuff on this. It is great to boost its agility. I didn't do that here. I went instead for a lot of attack because units that need bells are attack units, so that makes sense to me. Luck, because it's already a pretty lucky piece of equipment and you can lean into accuracy. The Sacred Step is great for having a barrier. having a lot of spirit, being equipable to a lot of units, and having, 8 agility in this build, 3 more agility, so 11 total agility. 3 of that's going to stack over everything because of my build. So if you need a lot of speed, and so like this is the same benefits as the Auspicious Cheongsam on crack. It has a barrier, it has more agility, and it has a little less spirit, but basically the same idea. Sword of Awaz is something that I keep telling myself I want to build, but I just haven't taken the time or the effort or the energy to make it a set of defense trust runes. But in theory, I would do defense and attack and use this on a tank to get a lot of defense off of a weapon. Getting defense and attack off of the same slot is usually pretty rare, so that could be cool. But as much as I think that might be interesting at some point, it doesn't really turn me on, so I haven't built it. And I think that may actually be the last TMR I'm showing you for this account. Moving on. Let's talk about Slime Leader. Dragonfang Paladins, I honestly don't use this one much at all either, but I'm seeing how it could be useful with haste and with critical dependent stuff being a lot more common. This is a good in a Velis matchup for haste or anyone else who hastes a lot. But I think turning off critical is what's going to make it more relevant into the future. That being said, it's an armor, so I don't like it much. This is good for AP recovery, a bit of agility on it, 6 agility because of the Trust Runes, and just kind of general resistances and HP. I explained this on a previous account. I'm doing basically the same thing here. It's a great TMR. It's on a free unit. It's one of the best healing TMRs in the game. Get it. This build of King of the Lion's Cloak is a little bit different. I'm focusing more on getting my unit AP than on attack. Otherwise, the builds are pretty much the same. For this Glinting Armor, I chose not to focus on defense. Instead, I'm focusing on evasion and AP. I don't know why. I don't really necessarily like this. I have the feeling that this is just kind of leftover runes and an auto set. I've already talked about what I want to do here, but critical damage and defense, healing power, a whole lot of defense on this, 27 defense total from this, and a lot of critical power up. Plus, pretty good bit of attack. I think I might be able to no, I think that's about as high as it's going to get, unless there's attack on it. This is only equipable by mages, which is important to remember, so I'm giving them spirit, which it leans into very well, healing power up, because again, they're mages, and then agility, because agility is always cool, and I like agility runes. Okay, already explained this one. 10 agility, 3 more agility. Very fast TMR. If you need someone to be fast, this is a great TMR. I also have a luck set on this one, so we're also getting luck 15 plus luck 20 on the item and evasion 5. All things that lean into something that likes this. This is one of my alts, so I'm still using this piece of equipment, even though I just told you about how I don't necessarily like it as much anymore, but I don't necessarily have anything better at the moment. So maybe I'll trade this out for something. This one, however, is not focused on evasion. This one is focused on accuracy. So this one is an accuracy variant. As you can see, even with it, I have moved away from the evasion meta with it. Illusory Bells, don't feel like explaining it. This one's geared towards attack instead of... I think what I should do with one of these is more speed. Getting it up to 13 agility would just be great. And I think that might be better than either AP, which is unnecessary, or attack on it, honestly. Maybe I'll do that in the future. Great buff, much like Tifa's TMR, huge diamond attack buff. Also, relevant status resistances for the matchup and to win. But if you look at all the passives and you look at all the trust runes, this is really set up for Eliza specifically. She needs a big AoE buff, especially partnered with Alaya, but also all of these resistances help her with long range damage or help her do more of what she does already. It's not so much for Alaya as it is for Eliza, but it could work with a lot of ranged units, and honestly, I use it on Zazan a lot just for the buff, so there's a lot of units that could benefit from this. And that's what I'm doing on those 2 accounts. I know this was a long video. I hope I got a lot of the important stuff out up front. Maybe I'll shift some things around so that that'll be even better into the final edit. But thanks for sticking around, and thanks for watching.